Chapter 7 Shemer's Paradise. Before we go in, Jason said, holding Klimo's arm prevented him from walking into the portal to the seventh hell. Ilsenstein is the god of manipulation. We shouldn't believe anything we see. Beelzebub is dead. How can we be deceived? Klimo asked, wearing a puzzled look. Jason said nothing as he let go of his friend's arm. Klimo continued to stare at him. He finally shrugged as his answer. He sighed as he turned around to proceed. The two entered the seventh hell. While expecting a world of fire, pain, and horror, the two saw not the hell they anticipated, but instead a blinding light that slowly dimmed as they adjusted their eyes. Beauty and elegance were before them. Massive pillars were erected upon a beautiful lush green grass. Buildings were composed of these pillars. Going from building to building were some stone paths, artistically designed with a grace of their own in the art of each and every stone. Within those stones, on the ground, were etched in circles. 5 interconnecting circles were carved into the stones. This pyramid design was the symbol of Sabin, the good god of magic. Walking from building to building, for as far as could be seen were angels and archons. Those winged, majestic entities were easily identified. Towers and buildings spanned out. Even with Klimo's magic eyes, he could not see the farthest structure. The sky was clear, holding a bright light that looked like a sun yet gave no heat. Here the temperature was moderate and perfectly comfortable. This place was called Elysium. Neither of these two have been here before. Sabin's realm spanned in every direction. Klimo and Jason looked at each other. Their exchange of glances showed they shared the same thoughts. Is this really Sabin's realm, or is this Ilsenstein's doing? That evil must be vanquished! An angelic figure noticed them. He pointed at them, screaming those words. Every angel and archon nearby within visual range, and possibly farther, immediately turned their full attention to the two mortals. Ilsenstein will not trick me! Klimo screamed as he drew vision into form. The two engaged in combat with their assailants. Jason fired several psychic blasts while sending Klimo telepathic message. We need to get out of here! Klimo swung his swords, combating the angels. They were too distracted to notice one angel in particular floating in the air, his wings holding him in place as he chanted arcane words, words that sounded like gibberish to both psychics. He cast a spell that triggered an effect. Gliding down to the ground, this graceful being stared at the two mortals. You are powerful enough to kill every angel within 1,000 miles. You will not escape this realm. My magic has seen to that. Jason, we are killing angels. We need to stop this. Klimo was blocking more than striking, performing his best to do as little damage to the divine creatures as possible. These graceful figures attacked in diverse groups. Up front were melee combatants that Klimo struggled with. Behind those, in the distance, were scores of spellcasters preparing their magic. Deep in the middle of these spellcasters was one familiar to Jason. Their dark shadow aura, wings void of light, face covered in tentacles, and abominable, sickly skin left Jason with no doubt. Clothrol, my first enemy. Klimo! Jason shouted to his companion. We are being tricked. These cannot be angels. Ilsenstein uses some kind of magic to fool our senses. Keep fighting, my friend. We must kill all of these abominations. Taking in the endless number of opponents, Jason was taken back, seeing the no-win scenario before them. Klimo, we have to leave. Jason sent the telepathic message to his friend. Klimo needed no further order. Using a psychic gift, he attempted to teleport the two out of this realm. His psychic energy fizzled, and nothing happened. We are trapped in this realm, Jason. Then take us somewhere here that they aren't, so we can formulate our next move. The next psychic teleportation Klimo performed was successful, and the two vanished. The image of Clothrol faded just before they left. Random teleports are risky powers to utilize. Klimo was no stranger to this. The emergency teleport could not be denied, but its cost was blood. The master teleporter has lost an arm, eye, finger, toe, several organs, part of his face, and on one occasion, one of his testicles. He is all too familiar with the risk of this power, yet here he was doing it once again. Even with all of the magic cast by more than just the single angel to prevent their escape, Klimo's power slipped through. Their bodies hurled from one end of the room and into a wall, slamming uncontrollably. A crunch sound was heard from Klimo as several of his bones snapped on impact. The weary teleported struggled to his feet through the pain. Jason was already standing, his eyes closed, concentrating on manifesting powers Klimo could not guess. He remained quiet, refusing to disturb the superior psychic in whatever he was doing. Jason opened his eyes after a moment. We should be safe here for a while. I manifested every hiding power I could manage. Not only are we hidden from magic, psionic, and divine scrying, instead of a dark area of detection around us, I have replaced the aura here with a mask over a mile radius that is a duplicate of what it was prior to our entrance here. Jason, I have no idea what that means. It means we have some time. Ilsenstein is a god. Eventually he will find us. Take the breather, my friend. Jason followed his body to fall into a chair, relaxing for the first time since their arrival in hell. Klimo continued to stand. Relaxing was the furthest thing from his mind. He did, however, take this time to examine his friend closely. There was a look of madness in Jason's eyes. Some kind of delirium or look of insanity was highly evident. Jason? Jason sharply turned his attention to his compatriot. Jason, you said on the previous hell that you could fix your mind. You ate people. You dug for months. You lost your mind as I was being killed over and over again. I came to your aid the first chance I got. Klimo shook his head, raising his hand to calm his friend. That's not what I'm getting at. You did what you had to do. You still have that look in your eyes. Have I acted irrationally or incompetent? No, but what? We have a mission to complete. The destruction of every devil. Jason, you are not well. I'm fine. We have too many problems to focus on. Exactly. You cannot be like this if we are to win. Jason, you can do anything. Why wouldn't you want your mind to be as sharp as possible? Jason sighed, admitting the truth. You're right, but I cannot fix myself. I must stay focused here or else we will die. I can watch over you while you do what you need to. Jason shook his head. It isn't that simple, my friend. Well, we can't proceed until you are you again. How do we repair your psyche? Jason pondered for a short moment, thinking, well, I could fix this psychic damage, but then I wouldn't be able to keep us hidden. However, you could. Anything, Jason. What do you need me to do? This is probably the most dangerous thing you have ever or will ever do, Klimo. I could bring you into my mind, and you could undo the scars that linger within there. Why would that be dangerous? My psychic defenses would perceive you as a threat. The vile things in my head would also combat you. I've never done psychic combat before. I know. You could adopt my scars, or worse, enter a vegetative state, or you could have your mind wiped. Your senses could be forever damaged, leaving you blind, or even some of your automatic mental functions, such as your heart beating or breathing, could be disrupted, and you would die. Klimo winced. Now you understand. What do we do? Klimo shook off the fear, stepping forward. I go in there. He pointed at Jason's head. And do what I have to do. Jason held up his hand. Again, I remind you that this is literally the most dangerous thing you could ever possibly do. Before I go in, I need to know how I controlled that demon. How did you even suspect it? Well, Klimo, I have suspected it for some time now. Remember killing Jarius when you battled Thossoth? Yes, why does that matter? Something merged with you upon his death. Something exited him and entered you. I can only guess as to what that was. I spent a great deal of time studying you with the help of Beelzebub. Yes, some of what you saw was not a lie. My best guess is that you have within you the power of every hell box that has been opened. With that, you can command demons. Clemo frowned. Why wouldn't you tell me sooner? Jason shook his head. Aside from the lack of opportunity, that knowledge is not a comforting thought for you, I would imagine. Clemo eyed his friend with skepticism. There is something you are not telling me. What else is there? I would rather not tell you. What? Jason, I need to know whatever it is. Clemo, we do not know how long this reprieve is. You are not ready for that truth just yet. You need to trust me on this. Please. You aren't going to tell me? Fine. I'm ready to enter your mind. Jason pointed at Clemo, unleashing a beam of psychic energy. Clemo did not resist. He felt his body uncontrollably lay down as darkness overcame him. You will find that teleporting does not work here, a voice said through the darkness. Clemo looked in that direction. A hooded figure stood behind him. Jason, how are you here? He leapt to his feet, facing this person. It doesn't matter. We don't have long here. There are 12 psychic scars to repair. Let's get to work before the subconscious finds us and erases us. Something was off or different about this man that hid their face. The nerfed teleporter was too distracted with the task at hand and how little time they might have to pay attention to it. Still, this mental form of Jason bothered Clemo all the same. They moved through a stone tunnel, passing dozens of crossroads, until finally they entered a room. This is the first scar. He pointed at a bookshelf within this library of a room. The bookshelf was lined with police tape, closing it off. This one will be easy. Just remove that stuff and it will grant the real Jason access to some of his locked-away memories. Clemo tore the tape off effortlessly. That was easy. Yeah, but that triggered his subconscious, and the rest aren't going to be so easy. We have to hurry. They ran through more tunnels, rushing into another room. This room looked identical to the Psionics Guild in Babylon that interconnected all the main cities in Corvus. I didn't think everything would be so physical in his head. It's not. This is just how your mind is perceiving it. He pointed at a solid blue man-shaped creature approaching them. Look out! The subconscious! Clemo pulled out his sword, swinging at it. The man pulled him back. Fool! You cannot fight like that here. How do I fight then? You can't. You run. Departing past the blue thing, the man ran circles around it, making it chase him. Fix this room while I have its attention. The room was a mess. Knocked over chairs, holes, punched in walls, and trash littered about. Clemo cocked his head in confusion. You want me to do what now? Clean this room, you idiot. The voice sounded familiar, especially the insult attached with it. Clemo had no time and began cleaning the room. The process did not take long. The man grabbed him by the wrist while rushing out of the room. Clemo did not resist. Into another room they went. The blue man was not far behind. In here, though, this room that looked like a small meditation room had only 2 pillows to sit on, had something floating about, spewing gas from pores all over its round, soggy, faithless, limbless body. You have to stop that thing. How? Be creative. Clemo clutched the gross thing. His hands were wet from this putrid creature he held. Gas continued to ooze out of this hole-covered thing. Clemo felt a kind of ravenous hunger while touching it. The blue man ran into the room. Clemo chucked the creature at the blue man. Catching it without fail, the blue man turned around, leaving. Clemo laughed. The man grabbed Clemo once again, tugging him into yet another room. These strange rooms and odd psychic entities had no end in sight. It was one after the other after the other. Each task was arbitrarily, utterly void of meaning. All right, we're almost done. The final thing to do when we get to the last room is to take off the blindfold from Jason. This will make him face the psychic damage, but he will be fine. Looking directly at the man, Klimo was fully confused. Jason? Him? If you aren't Jason, who are you? There's no time for this. Get going. Get in there and do it. Klimo rushed into the room, not realizing that the man stayed back. The room was a massive auditorium, with Jason quietly sitting on a chair, silently wearing that blindfold. He reached to remove it, only to be thrown into the wall across the room. Looking at what had thrown him, Klimo saw the empty room was now full of grotesque, man-like creatures, each resembling Jason in one aspect or another. They were all mutated versions of that superior psychic. Some had too many limbs, others too few. Some had queer-shaped faces or bulbous hands. Each and every one was different and wrong. They all stood looking at Klimo. These nightmare versions all moved in unison, approaching the teleporter with a look of madness and vengeance in their eyes. "We will have you too," they all said in unison. They repeated the phrase 2 more times, each time pausing mid-sentence. With each pause, they stopped moving, then moved again when talking. "We will have you too." Klimo attempted to teleport away from these things. The man was right. He could not teleport here. Remembering the man and his words, Klimo looked back at him. Only at that moment was his face clear and visible. He wore the face of Jarius Cain. How? The confusion gripped Klimo as the mutant Jasons seized hold of him. Their arms stretching, each trying to take him and impress their madness upon the teleporter, driving him to a state of dismay he knew that he could not recover from. The man wearing the face of Jarius took this opportunity to rush into the room, past all of the distracted Jasons, reaching the real one and quickly removing the blindfold. Not a second was wasted. The real Jason stood up as his mind pointed at Klimo. Light arced from his palm, striking every mutant, scarred version of himself, destroying them in an instant. "Jason!" Klimo began, free from the threat of madness. "How did Jarius—" He was interrupted by the mental form of Jason ejecting his friend from his mind. "Thank you, Klimo," Jason said as the real world slowly awakened around him. "What just... how? Please explain." "I'm better now, thanks to you. I would not have guessed you could schism your mind like that. Well done." "But I didn't. I thought that was you until I saw his face." Jason shook his head, his eyes no longer showing madness, but a realization that he had said too much. "It doesn't matter." His face hardened with a determined expression. "We need to stop Ilsenstein." "But that was Jarius Cain. How? How was Jarius in your head? He's dead. I saw him in hell, writhing in his own hell." Jason sighed. "I suppose I have to tell you now. Klimo, where did you see his soul?" "I just told you. In his own personal hell." "Which layer of hell was that? Which devil god?" "The 6th, with Beelzebub." "So the Lord of Lies showed you Jarius?" "Yes. Wait. Was that another lie?" "You tell me, Klimo." "Oh, no. I saw him in your head. Jarius Cain is somehow in your head. Jason, I am so sorry that fiend is inside of you." "No, Klimo. He is not in my head." "Jason, please stop this. Speak straight to me. Tell me exactly what this is." Jason sighed. "You want the straight truth and nothing less. So be it. You killed Jarius Cain. The power of the hell boxes and the power as Jarius Cain possessed went into you. His soul went into you also. That is why that demon obeyed you. That is why you saw him in my head, because he is actually in yours." "Oh, I thought he was never going to tell you." The voice of Jarius echoed in Klimo's mind. "What? Jarius, where are you?" "He just told you I'm in your head. Try to keep up." "Jason, he—" Klimo was interrupted by Jason holding his hand up. "I know, my friend. I can hear him too. I'm a telepath. The only thing that surprises me the most is how he managed to stay quiet this long." It wasn't easy. I shared your pain all those times they killed you. Well, get him out of me. I can't. Why not? Jason pointed at Klimo's head. If he were a psychic presence or even magically invading your mind, I could instantly expel him. His very soul is in you. I can't do anything about him or that hellbox power inside of you. Klimo kicked a chair across the room as he fumed with anger. This! Why does it have to be like this? The chair flew with much greater force than Klimo intended. Klimo, don't be a fool. You have no choice. I would rather die than keep you in my head. Your hell would be much worse than my voice in your head. Jason waved his hand. Well, I may not be able to get rid of him. I can, however, shut him up. Klimo, this is the only thing I can do for now. You will not hear his voice unless you will it. Klimo clutched his head, shaking it in disbelief. He's going to go through my memories. He will torture me from the inside out. He will shut off my life functions. What will I do? He can't do any of that. He is just a voice in your head that is muted until you say otherwise. Jason turned away from Klimo, preparing to leave. Besides, you control whatever powers he had, which, as I recall, were a lot. I don't know any spells, Jason. How could I possibly use that? Klimo fell down to the floor. He had more than arcane magic. It's up to you, Klimo, to use that or not. You would have to listen to him if you did want to. We need to focus. Take your mind off of that for now. Easy for you to say. Jason changed the subject. We need to be wary of Garrix as well. Klimo sighed, giving in. I've been meaning to ask you about him. Why hasn't he killed us? He has had plenty of opportunities to do so. I have something that could kill him. Garrix fears this weapon I have. Where is it? What is it? I keep it hidden. I will not risk revealing it until we have the perfect shot to use it. He is afraid of it, but we will strike it if he gets a good enough opportunity. We cannot let our guard down. Klimo walked over to a window to peek outside. The same sort of pillars and buildings were seen as far as even his magical eyes would allow him to see. Ilsenstein has gone through a great deal of trouble to make his demons and servants look like angels. I don't see any tortured souls there. If this truly is some kind of illusion set up by the god of manipulation, then he must have himself disguised as Sabin. That makes sense. Let's go kill fake Sabin. Ilsenstein's magic is powerful. It won't be easy to get to him. The two quietly stepped out of this house. Jason had his psychic ability, cloaking their bodies from all sight. Even Klimo's magical eyes remained hidden from any angel that would see them. Jason pointed in the far distance to a white stone city far past the pillar buildings. Klimo teleported the two there. They reappeared on top of one such building on a balcony. The building itself was well over 100 stories high. It was a square-shaped structure spanning almost a kilometer in both directions from the middle. Klimo chose this specific building due to being the tallest. Looking onto the balcony, they saw a hallway lined with countless doors going both directions. Jason held a finger to his lips, sighing to Klimo to remain silent as he stepped forward. Walking into this hallway, Jason turned to a random door. Opening it gave it a strange, calming sensation. The superior psychic waved his hand, utilizing his psychic talent to end this euphoria coming over him. He refused to drop his guard. With resolve, he stared into this room. It showed not a room, but an outside world full of trees and chirping birds. The sun shone brightly to this sky. The sky was different. It was identical to the material plane sky back on Corvus. He walked in, motioning for his companion to follow. They boldly walked into this serene wilderness. Klimo already had his swords out. The sword fission was quiet, following suit with their silence. They walked past over a dozen trees in this ideal, peaceful nature. Klimo spotted the man first. He pointed at a man lying in a hammock made of straw, napping. Looking back at Jason, only a shrug was offered for an explanation. Clemo vanished, reappearing next to the sleeping man. His swords were raised, ready to end this man's life. Jason reached his hand out. No, don't! Alas, the superior psychic was too slow in stopping his friend. The blades have already plunged into him. A gurgling sound was heard from the dead or dying man. While letting out his final sound, his body grew bright as segments of him broke away, floating into the air, until all of his body was nothing but floating bubbles swirling around. They spiraled around Clemo and somehow were absorbed into the teleporter. I have no idea what just happened. Clemo shrugged, wearing a smirkish frown of confusion. I think that was a soul and you absorbed it somehow, Jason said. Ilsenstein's tricks are vast, it would seem. I won't fall for them. We should kill every one of those we come across, Clemo said. Jason shook his head. No, something's not right. Light burst all around the two psychics. A swirling darkness was in the center. The darkness was in the shape of a person with large wings spread out and something on their face drooping down. She's here! Clothral is here! Jason shouted, recognizing the shape. With the light dimming, the form of the new arrival was evident and undeniable. She, her, it, that thing Clothral, with their gray, slimy skin and tentacles hanging from their mouth. Her shadow dragon heritage kept darkness around her at all times, even when encompassed by pure light. This powerful psychic creature stared directly at Clemo. What have you done? They said through their obscure mouth. Clemo leapt forward, refusing to give a telepath a chance to invade his mind, swinging his swords, beheading the thing with ease. Ha! Clemo declared his triumphant. Ilsenstein's champion is dead, and easily, I must say. Jason shook his head with disbelief. Clemo! Jason pointed at the dead body as it changed before their eyes. We have been fooled. You did not kill Clothral. Our old friend Mark, you have destroyed his soul. He was the emissary of Sabin. The teleporter looked down at what should be Clothral. His eyes widened. He dropped his swords as he could not deny the sight. Mark Johnson's body evaporated, just as the previous soul did. The bubbles vortexed into Clemo. His magic eyes darkened. Jason, how could I let this happen? Clemo dropped to his knees. Tears welled up inside of his eyes. Placing his hands over his face, he cried into them. Through his fingers, black teardrops poured through. Jason dropped back from Clemo. Clemo, we are about to be in for the fight of our lives. Clemo did not respond as he continued to weep. Jason scanned the area with a psychic sweep, knowing that what will happen next. He could already sense the incoming teleports from an army of angels and archons. If we stood any chance of using diplomacy with Sabin, we just blew it. Yes, you did. A sword's blade sliced next to Jason, barely missing him as he bent backwards, further pushing through the hole in space it just created. The blade fully emerged along with the feminine hand holding it. Their body exited the rip, revealing the Clemo known as Grey. She lunged at Jason, swinging to kill. Their other hand held another sword, both illuminated with their own magic, as she swung violently at the superior psychic, aiming to kill. Jason jumped back, sensing danger behind him as his body hurled backwards. He instinctively jumped, avoiding a short blade swinging just behind. When Jason landed, he extended his hands from left to right, sending a force wave out, pushing the two attackers back. Just prior to teleporting away, he saw the second attacker and was not surprised at their appearance. Twinkle! We're supposed to be allies! Twinkle, the third Clemo in the forest, said nothing, nor reacted to Jason's words. He slipped in between space, teleporting out of sight. Something dug into Jason's mind. He felt two psychic invaders intruding simultaneously, splitting his consciousness into three. Jason continued the physical battle with Twinkle and Gray while engaging a psychic combat with these other two. You killed me. Now I will have the pleasure of killing you. A guttural thought echoed in the psychic plane that the first mental Jason occupied. Desolate surrounded him, spanning endlessly in every direction. Even looking up, empty continued on forever. Did you think we would battle here? What are you doing, if not attacking me? Jason yelled into the void. Sabin is going to kill you. He has already sent the three best Klimo warriors to you. Two won't even make it to his army of angels and archons. Jason walked through the endless desert. I am going to destroy your soul, Clothrall. You are trapped here. I am still out there fighting two Klimos and some other psychic invaders. Laughter was the response Thrall gave. I have 1/3 of your attention and power trapped here. I am far more powerful than you when we fought all those years ago, Abomination. The second mental Jason stood in a familiar room. This place resembled the realm Jason had as his godly realm when he was a god not too long ago. This place looked identical to his island plane that floated in an astral sea of psychic creation. He was on the temple, his temple, in the center of the island. Sitting on the throne in the center was the Klimo known as Magic. He sat staring at Jason, waiting for him to make the first move. They locked eyes, both glaring at one another. Bold move attacking me like this, Jason said. Your attention is divided too much to win, Magic replied. If you did this 6 years ago, yes, my powers have greatly grown since then. Magic shook his head without ceasing eye contact. So have ours. You are terrible at physical combat. You have to deal with the two greatest teleporting sword fighters of all time. I have my own Klimo to help. You have a Klimo that is worse than Red. Even now I could see Junior, and that he is becoming the evilest and most vile thing any universe has ever known. Jason frowned. So you could see it too. I was honestly hoping I was wrong. How did it happen, Jason? How did one of the Klimos become Cretan? The mental plane shook at the name being spoken out loud. Somehow by killing Jarius, he has become Jarius. Somewhere inside of him is Jarius and the power from the Hellboxes. He's more Cretan than Klimo. Make no mistake, Jason. We are going to kill you here and now, but you can at least redeem some of what you have done by helping us kill him. Give up. Your quest has doomed most of the multiverse. Time no longer exists. The only reason we are even here is by the grace of Sabin. You are poison, a creation of Jarius Kane. Jason raised his head. I will never give up. Magic moved his fingers while mouthing arcane words, already casting a spell to lunge at Jason. Twinkle and Gray flipped the teleporter, moving all around the room, dodging any and every psychic attack Jason threw at him. Every time they got... Gray and Twinkle flipped and teleported, moving all around the room, dodging any and every psychic attack Jason threw at them. Every time they got close enough to swing their weapons, Jason dodged the attacks. He was constantly using the speed of grots, just to keep up with their skill. While his body moved like lightning, his mind remained the same, still processing at regular speed. The three were at a standstill, unable to hit one another. Junior Klimo was still hunched down, grieving his actions on killing his friend's soul just a moment ago. He hadn't even noticed his fellow Klimos attacking Jason. Looking up between his fingers, his solid black, yet still glowing eyes saw the fight before him. Lowering his hands revealed trails under his eyes that were a putrid black color. Evil oozed from his very ocular orbs. Tears continued to run down his face. His palm opened up, fission floated into his hand, with a magnetic pull all of its own. Klimo fully stood erect, his face expressionless and cold, like someone else was at the helm inside of his brain. Vanishing from his position, he reappeared behind Twinkle with his sword raised. Twinkle sensed the enemy behind him. Attempting to teleport across the forest, failed as Junior already had his weaponless hand also raised, ceasing any teleports from his identical foe. Fission swung down, cutting through Twinkle's shoulder, piercing his heart, killing him. His blood splattered and his soul struggling to escape his dead body. The soul of Twinkle scurried through the air, only to be sucked into Junior like the previous two souls he absorbed. Gray's jaw dropped at the sight of her comrade dying from another Klimo. "Vile thing!" she screamed at Junior, teleporting to his location, already swinging her own blades in the process. The younger, black-eyed Klimo parried with fission, then punched with his weaponless hand straight through her chest. She fell over, dead. Her soul, too, was absorbed just as Twinkle's was. "Once I am done dealing with these Klimos, I will be killing you, Clothrol." "You have far bigger problems." "What, like Sabin?" "Ha! Do you believe he will attack you directly?" "No. He will send his entire army at me first." "Good," Clothrol said with satisfaction in her voice. "What do you think will happen to the material plane after he loses his divinity?" "It will be no more. No more humans, no more mortals. Only the 3 remaining hells will exist, and I will destroy those too." "Ilsenstein will enjoy building the multiverse in his image. Can your pathetic human mind conceive of such a beauty?" "Can I imagine a mortal plane full of abominations like you, where everything is madness and food is for your kind? Yes, I can. That isn't beauty, nor is that going to happen." Clothrol chuckled, in a cackling sense. Spells and psychic energy clashed in bright colors and subtle waves around the mental plane Jason and Magic Klimo occupied. Both were considerably drained. "My Klimo has joined the fray. He is no longer a Klimo, and you know that. Whatever he has already killed your 2 comrades. You have the opportunity to surrender and leave," Jason said. Magic sent out a wave of spells to counter the incoming psychic energy surrounding his astral form. "Leave to where? There are few realms left to go to, thanks to you." Jason shrugged, conceding the point. As the 2 countered magic and psychic powers at one another like a ping-pong game, a blackened form materialized in between them within this psychic plane. His eyes were black, and his entire frame was solid darkness, with no distinguishable features. An aura waved out of him, echoing out. He turned his head to Magic. Within the blink of an eye, he was inches from Magic Klimo. Magic could not move or cast any spells. His life force, was drained from the astral projection into this dark titan. Magic attempted to escape by ending his astral form, only to have his very essence seized by the grip of this thing before him. Jason prepared several psychic powers to attack whatever it was, only to stop himself realizing who it was. "Klimo? Is that you?" Jason called to the dark form. Magic Klimo vanished, having been drained into the creature Jason called Klimo. The mental realm destabilized, with magic no longer holding it into existence. Both Dark Klimo and Jason were expelled. "What just happened?" Jason asked his friend. With a deeper voice than he once had, Klimo responded, "There are no more Klimos." "Then what are you?" "You have much bigger problems to worry about." He waved his hand, shooting a dark beam at Jason. Jason was unable to evade it. Inside of Jason's mind, Clothrol screamed, pushing her out of the superior psychic's head, returning him back into a singular consciousness. Sabin will attack us soon, Jason said. No, he won't, Dark Klimo replied. Jason cocked his head in confusion. His army will. He will regret doing that. Why is that? Jason asked. The fight will go exactly as I will describe. An endless army of angelic forces will come to us. They will never relent. We will kill every single one that comes our way. Their magic will be inferior to our capabilities. They might have stood a chance if they attacked us at the same time as those 3 Klimos did, but Sabin is a cautious god. Attempting strategy would normally be a good idea. However, this will be his undoing. How so? As if on cue, the army of Sabin arrived, and the two entered combat. Klimo sent out waves of dark energy that he could not have summoned before, and what was more, he did it as if he has had countless years of experience handling this new power of his. The powers contained in those hell boxes flowed through him, making a change on the man, confirming exactly what Magic Klimo was saying. He was no longer Klimo. The spirit of Cretan possessed him. While the description was vague, Klimo was accurate in explaining. As you can see, Sabin keeps his distance. We are only dealing with this rabble. Klimo sent the telepathic message. Why are we fighting an endless army? Jason sent. Be patient. Soon, we won't have to fight them. You see, we fight them. There is a much larger battle happening. Ilsensign and Sabin. The main difference is Ilsensign is completely focused on Sabin. Sabin will inevitably lose. How do you know all of this? You already know how. Angels fell from the sky, crashing into their own heaven, disintegrating upon impact. Their wings were scorched and useless. Just as Dark Klimo said, they could not do any real damage to the multiverse's most powerful psychic and the reincarnation of an underpowered Cretan. What about Garrix? What about him? Who cares? He won't do anything right now, Klimo said. Why? These constant questions are tedious and unnecessary. Why do mortals insist on constant communication? Even after being immortal, I still find it tedious and pointless. Just wait and watch. As predicted, the angels never relented. Their numbers were infinite, and their power was useless. Neither mortal even came close to being hurt. In the sky, far beyond the attacking angels, were things of grotesque nature and description. Things that would cause one's skin to crawl. Abominations of innumerable sizes, shapes, and unutterable hideousness. The things in the far-off sky lurked and moved, ignoring the angels. Just beyond those things were 2 colossal figures. One was man-shaped, emanating magic, constantly varying and adapting to the attacking army of abominable things. Attacking him, the other figure floated in the further distance, commanding the army of things to attack this magical god. These were Sabin and Ilsensign. As Jason observed, he saw the power of the god of magic waning, while the power of the god of manipulation was ever increasing. The power of Sabin was being leached into Ilsensign. As they continued, the god of magic was slowly losing size, while the god of confusion grew. Spells were doing less and less from Sabin to the army of Ilsensign, while constantly being destroyed by Sabin, were rapidly gaining progress. The end of the last mortal good god was just moments ahead. When I tell you, you must accept my teleport. Do not deny it, Jason. If you do not do exactly as I say, when I say it, and how I say it unquestioningly, then you will die. The moment is almost upon us. If you fight me in any way, shape, or form, you will die. A moment of hesitation and concern entered Jason's mind. The thought of this evil one being trusting unsettled him more than killing good gods. Yet with the god of lies dead, his word could not be deception. With a hefty sigh, Jason admitted he had little to no choice in the matter. He sensed the power of Klimo about to teleport both of them away. How can you teleport out of this realm with what the angel put up earlier? Jason's question was met with a mental laugh. Dark Klimo sent Jason an image to explain. The image showed a dam holding water at bay. The water represented teleporting, while the dam represented the teleporting power's hindrance. The water overpowered the dam, crashing over it. This image showed how much more powerful his teleport was than something holding it at bay. Jason and Dark Klimo vanished. Everything was convoluted. Up felt down, down felt up. Direction was scattered by every sense, making nothing feel right. Whatever place they were in had nothing the way it should be. Madness seeped into Jason's brain. His psyche was powerful enough to hold it at bay, but he still felt it constantly gnawing at him from every direction. The air was liquid as he attempted to move his body forward. Sense of vertigo overtook him. Jason fell to his knees. He clung to the ground, which was like air, yet he stood on it all the same. Klimo walked forward, either unaffected by those sensations or ignoring them entirely. Jason shifted his powers, attempting to adapt, only discovered that every countermeasure only made things worse. Klimo approached something that excited his face. He struggled to move everything into focus, but only saw Klimo walking through air that looked like paint. Klimo bent down to pick something up, holding a smile larger than he has ever held. Only 2 more to go after this one. Klimo's words sounded maddening, Jason. This place plays tricks on his very senses. Klimo held the hell box of the 7th hell. It opened by itself. The dark swirling power smoked out of the box and into the body of Klimo. What monster am I creating? Jason asked himself while straining to move properly here. Klimo breathed deeply of this power. He reveled in a feeling ever stronger from it. Whatever man Klimo was, that man was gone. Only this demonic form existed with black eyes and powers that defied logic itself. Jason glared at him, knowing nothing was right, knowing that it was too late to back down. He must continue this path. Klimo turned to Jason. The dark eyes stared at the superior psychic. We have so much work to do. I can sense your hatred of what I am becoming. Nothing can stop Cretan's return. I am almost me again. His voice was not only deeper, but 2 voices were heard speaking at the same time. One was Klimo's voice, while the other was Jarius Kane's. Throughout his antiquated place, portals opened up, ripping space apart all around these two. The angels and archons of Sabin rushed out to attack. Klimo held his hand up to have Jason relax. His demeanor was confident. Flicking his wrist in a relaxed fashion caused every angelic being to burst into flame upon exiting their respective portal. Klimo smiled an insidious smile. Yes, just 2 more and it is done. Ilsenstein is going to kill Sabin. How will we stop him when that happens? Jason asked. I'm not worried about him, Klimo said. Jason opened his mouth to speak again, but was cut off by the demonic teleporter. As for Garrix, I'm not worried about him either. Garrix is more powerful than both of us combined. Klimo shrugged indifferently. True, but you have the means of killing him. The Fire Lord fears you. Jason recalled the sword of Katar. He could summon any time he desired. The sword once killed Garrix. It can kill him again regardless of how much divine power he gathered. It is time to go. Clemo said, utilizing his psychic power. Both Jason and himself vanished. End of chapter 7.